All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is December 12th, 2015, and the title of today's webinar is Trend Types Identified and How to Trade Them. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading rooms, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we might have, our trading room, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should ever be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we're going to go ahead and get started. Sound good? All right, let's see. Didn't see the Class Thursday webinar on the site yet. Should be. It should be. I'll check that right after we close the room here, but it definitely should be. Now, just a little joke to the side. I want to show you a chart here, and I want to ask a quick question. Can anybody see the trend? Okay. Now, don't laugh at this one because this is just a Saturday morning joke. Does anybody see a trend there? A little bit, right? Well, we've got the red background, don't we? Okay. So that's kind of telling us that we're looking at shorts, right? Okay. Very good. You can see that trend. All right. Let's go ahead and add some indicators then. Let's go ahead and add our Viper Lightning 3. I'll go ahead and do that and make sure that it's on 15 swing strength is what I like to see on mine. And then we're going to add the Viper a priori swing also, and always make sure you put that on a good range size. I like to personally put mine on 12 range. Okay, and let's go ahead and see what we can see now on the trend. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of the ellipses because that's not fair to see them yet. Now, let me ask you a quick question. We saw that the trend was a little bit down with this red background, but even by looking at this chart, can you clearly see that the trend is still pretty much down? Let me show you how to see that. And by the way, we're going to have this very soon to where we're going to be able to draw from these a priori swings. Right now, you can, of course, draw Lightning 3, okay? But the a prioris aren't able to draw yet. So I see a high here, a low here, a lower high, lower low, lower high, oops, same low, maybe a little higher even. So where is our resistance on this chart? It's right there, okay? Now, what do you think that they usually try to do on those situations? They basically barely take them out, and then they go ahead and go the direction they were heading. So at Viper, we've added some other indicators for you too. Let's go ahead and put it on. We'll put the VIP dynamic trend on. All right. And I've always got mine where I've got transparented out on everything but line 2, line 6, and the mid band. And the shadows, of course, will not have lines on them when you do it that way. So let's go ahead and add that. All right, we're going to get rid of the ellipses for now. All right, so this is still telling us pretty much that this trend is down, isn't it? Okay. So why would you want to trade it any other way than selling resistance and buying support? You want to be real careful of going against these trends like this, because these little head fakes that they do, they're the ones that all of a sudden they'll just head the same direction they were going and leave you in the dust. And that's because, you know, you're taking like little breakouts and things like that. It's best actually to use your ellipsis to give an example, and I'm going to show this today because what we're looking at right now is naturally the larger trend, right? I'm going to draw it again so we can all see it with lightning, okay? Now that's our larger trend right there, telling us that a 12 range chart with 5 swing strength is actually pretty much still heading down until it takes this out with a vengeance. Now, to change trends, this would have to do this. It would have to come back. And by then it's changing, it's breaking lightning, right? So then you could take a trade like that. And of course, if it takes this out, what would it do next? Well, obviously, let's just draw a line there, and let's just bring it up here. First of all, we'd hit our heads naturally, right? And then we'd probably come down to, say, somewhere right in here, you know, right on top of that swing or close to it. And then if we broke up, what would we do? What if you walked in the room and the trade was going like this? Well, you're looking for that trade right there. You're looking for that trade right there. Now, this isn't the way this is going. Obviously, we're a short, but this is what it would have to do to change trend directions. If it doesn't change trend directions, guess what? The old saying, Oklahoma saying, it ain't heading up. We'll use the old ain't word because it's not heading up if they don't take this out with a vengeance, so to speak, at least, you know, a thrust and a pullback. Now, sometimes that thrust can be smaller. You know, if they break this, let's just go back over here, pretend we're here instead. Let's say they break it like this even. That's still breaking that. And then they come back and they kiss, like, say, maybe right below it, and then all of a sudden they pop back through and head up. You could take that because then it could just do, instead of a large like this, it could just stair step up. That's the difference in the trends. Okay, the medium trend is pretty much this trend right here. This is pretty much telling you what the medium trend is. Okay, now this is telling you the overall trend, this beautifully designed indicator right here, you know, and you want to stay pretty much going with the trend. Okay, now we've added recently another little tool called the predictor. I'll go ahead and get rid of these lines, and we'll get rid of lightning 3 for right now. All right, now let's add the predictor, and then let's look and see the real chart and see where we might be getting us a trade. We're still looking at shorts. We're looking at these swings to take those trades, right? So bear with me a second. Let's go with an actual chart. Okay, same identical chart, except it's got bars on it now. Okay, all right. So you're in a downtrend. You've taken out the low over here. You're up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Lots of our traders are. I look to the left to trade the right, and I also see this swing right across here. That's pretty much telling me that more than likely they're going to hit their head there and give us a little rollover. Okay, and that's what you're actually looking for, is these little rollovers. Okay, because they happen, and they happen a lot. Does everybody see that? That's what you're looking for. Okay, so let's go ahead and use Object Trader and see if we can trade it. Bear with me a second. Now what I'm going to do this morning, I want to show you a little bit more how to scalp like a lot of our traders do, because you know when you get this sideways movement and everything, you're going to have to learn, you know, obviously to scalp, right? You've just got to be able to scalp. If you can't scalp, then you're going to have a real hard time, you know, making a lot of money, except at the opens of the market, you know, when the market really starts moving, to give an example. Those are usually pretty good. Okay. All right. Let me pause for just a second. Let's see if we've got any questions on this real quick. Any questions on this real quick? None coming in. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and trade it then. We're going to use Object Trader. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and set my targets. Let's just do 3 contracts. Okay. But the way we want to do this is we want to do 2 targets for, say, 10 ticks. So I can simply set this for 2. And then I'll set this one more as like a runner. Okay. And we'll just go ahead and use this particular template today. We'll call it a webinar template. We'll just save it as a webinar template. All right. And we'll save that by hitting enter. And then this will be our template that we're using today. Okay. So I'll go ahead and put Object Trader on the chart. All right. Now we know that with 3 contracts, we're going to need to turn this off right here, obviously, because we don't want 10, 20, and 15. We want 10, 10, and 20. So with 3 contracts, it'll do 1, 1, 1. So it'll do 2 here and 1 here. Everybody know that rolls, right? When it rolls, what it's actually doing, if you choose, say, 2 targets and you use 3 contracts, it's going to put 2 on the first target. Because the way it does 1, 1, and then roll back to 1. If you did 4 contracts on 3 targets, it would do 1, 1, 1, and then back to 1 here. So it'd be 2 at the starting one, and then 1, then 1. Okay? So let's go ahead and just do 3. All right, we'll leave it at a 12 tick stop. That's fine. I did forget to set the break-even trigger, though. Let's go ahead and do a 10 tick for a break-even trigger. Let's just see if we can scalp this thing. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and go in here and actually save that. So it'll do this a few times for us. So we can do some scalping. All right, so we're 10, 20. We'll do 3 contracts, right? And we'll do a break-even trigger at 10. And we'll save that template again. Okay, now we'll go ahead and go into the strategy and load it on the chart. All right. Okay, and we'll turn this off right here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to actually short this right here when it comes up to this ellipse. That's looking to the left to trade the right. Okay, now I don't know for sure if it's going to get there. If it doesn't and it comes down and it makes a higher ellipse, we'll short the higher ellipse. But we'll short the actual ellipse when it gets up there. This looks pretty good to me anyway because that's the way we teach it. That's actually resistance right there, so it should be a good trade. Okay, let's go ahead and start it. Hopefully this isn't so slow in the middle of the night. We'll see if we can get some scalps. Starting the data up, hopefully. Let's see, between, could you lead me to the webinar where you show how to run the market replay, or I can communicate with you after the webinar? Yeah, Jim, on your question there, we can go ahead and do that, you know, after the room closes here. That'll be fine. Would that work? Okay, now we missed our little deal while I was talking there because we did roll over within 2 ticks of that, and I usually like to take those. So we missed our first trade, no big deal. And by the way, if you want to go ahead and take a trade like this, okay, if you do want to take a trade like this, realize that you can take it on another rollover, okay, because they'll usually roll over pretty decently, won't they? Let's see if we can get a rollover trade. Looks like it's already doing it. See how it just rolled up there and checked that previous resistance. We'll just wait a minute. We'll get a trade. Bear with it just a few minutes. We'll get it. Because that actually was perfect where my line was drawn. Sniper would have gotten that, by the way. But I was talking about other things. And if you miss one, what do you got to do? You got to wait for the retrace. Or take those little rollovers like I just called. Remember when we were talking just a minute ago, that rollover bar right there would have been good. All right, but if not, let's wait for an ellipse to show up. See if we can get us an ellipse. We're just going to go for 10 ticks. See if we can get one. Now, you know we would have gotten that trade obviously right there, right, with Sniper, because that was the rollover bar. And that's one thing I want to caution you on too. If they get close to your resistance like it just did while we were talking about that other subject, take the trade, because see what we just missed out on? We absolutely missed a good trade that we diagnosed in real time on a chart. And now we've got to wait for a retracement, don't we? So let's see if we can get a retracement. Now I see that the ellipse should draw somewhere about through here and no higher than here. Everybody see that? So that's where I'm looking for a quick trade. And our ellipse should draw any moment, so we'll take it if it gets there. See if we can get it. See if we can get our little ellipse. There's your ellipse. See how it draws in real time and plenty of time to get the trade? Now I know that it can't go any higher than here, 39, because that's my lightning. See my lightning trend? If you need to draw it, just draw it with the little arrow, the lightning. Bear with me a second. We're going to take a trade here any moment. And we could set sniper up either way. Waiting for that trade. Still waiting. Still waiting. That's resistance up there. Or we'll wait for another ellipse. If this one doesn't show up, we'll get the next one. Almost got it. If that bar close up, I'll turn on my bar close. It actually kissed the ellipse, but it didn't kiss resistance, so I'm going to still wait. And it wicked the ellipse. It didn't actually close at it. Be patient on your trading. It pays off. All right, we'll turn on bar close. Because now we know that it's trying to get up there to that line where resistance is. There it is. It's right there. Okay. Now, if you want to, if you actually want to go ahead and fire contracts right at the line, you're sometimes better off because we're going to have to give up a bar close. And that can make a difference on your stop. Okay, because I see that that should hit its head right there. We drew it ahead of time. It should hit its head. See if we can get 10 ticks. And by the way, if you don't, get your 10 ticks, a lot of times you can go for these 5 and 7 tick scalps too, just in case. And I would put my stop right across there, just in case, because this could obviously go higher. Now, I also like to look in live on the chart, and I see actually support right there. See it? Little lightning. So you could take one of them at 6, see right there, because it hit that little swing. If you draw your lightning, you'll see it. It's micro lightning. All right? Because we may not get down to this next one. We'll find out. We got like 130 bucks so far. Now I put my stop right across. Come on. Right across there. Just in case. Expand it a little bit. Vertical? Sure. Like that. Little thrust, retrace, thrust. Didn't close actually below it, but it is doing a little lightning dance down. And if it takes us out, we will get in another one on an ellipse because we're still in a downtrend. There we just got taken out. All right. Let's see if we can get another ellipse and we'll do it again. Now, where do you think the next ellipse is going to be? Look to the left to trade the right. We should get an ellipse right there, looking straight to the left. That's also mid-band. Now, see, this is a little riskier trade because it was below mid-band on a short. And notice we did scalp it, but we only got like 90 bucks. Okay, but this next trade should be a little better because that's going to hit a 12 range swing if we get there. And we could also box it in because obviously it may head down, but right now you'd have too big of a box. So I'm looking for resistance. Let's see if we just scalp our way to getting some coin this morning. See when our ellipse will draw. One quick reminder too, I've got my programmer actually working on the predictor this weekend, and we're going to get it to where it's going to draw these ellipses on these charts. Even if you use the big Rankos, it'll still draw in the same spot because you can tell it to draw it on a 4 range, or you can tell it to draw on like the Viper Hybrid Ranko, you know, smaller ones. That's going to be a pretty cool feature actually. Okay, we're just going to scalp our way and see if we can get, you know, a decent living out of trading by simply trading the trend and trading these ellipses. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Hopefully I can catch the trade. It's got to get up here next. Or it would have to break down through here, wouldn't it? And if you draw a line here, I don't like that trade because that's not even 10 ticks. See, that's like 8. And by the time you got a bar filled, you wouldn't get 3 of it. So I wouldn't touch that trade. You got to have some room to get lower, okay? Otherwise, you just have to scalp it at like 6 or 7 ticks if it was to break this swing. But you know, these ellipses being calculated in real time are actually pretty salty because, you know, it's telling you by the way the price action's doing where its next place it's trying to go, okay? Speed it up a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty slow. Here we go. Turning it on. May go a little higher because it didn't quite get to 38, did it? It's okay. We got our stop in. There's your exact kiss. Now, what I'd probably do in a case like this would be add another contract myself because it hit exactly where I wanted it to hit. Okay, and all we're trying to do on this trade is go for these swings. Now there's a target. All right, notice how it didn't take out our low just yet. It bounced right off that ellipse. All right, we could tighten our stop because look, it just hit support. We need a lightning swing, and that's micro, not quite. It needs to close that bar down for me to put the stop this low. We can go ahead and stay at break even if you want to, because that did kick it to break even, so that's still pretty decent. Now I'd bring it more than likely right across there if you're scalping. Now if you're trying to go for runners, you got to go a little looser on these things, but what we're going to try to do right now is just scalp this thing. It looks like it might get us. Not yet. Oh, there's another ellipse. Now I don't like that one as well that's coming up there, simply because it's already been higher, and if you're not going to take those lows out, you need a higher ellipse than that. Rich has taught that in webinars for a long time, so have we, as far as your swings go. Okay, and if you're going to do that one, you pretty much just got to, well, we've already missed it because I would have literally just hit it at market, and we've already missed it. So I'll wait for another ellipse. Trading in the direction of the trend. And that's okay if we miss it because we're going to try to get, that would have been a 10 ticker if you would have hit it right where midband was. But that's okay. Let's see if we can get another one. There's our ellipse right there. Notice what I'm doing is I'm not trying to go inside the ellipse or anything. All I'm trying to do is just simply, you know, hit the ellipse and a rollover. And I look at here to trade the, we hit 38 the first time, right? hit 39, so there's another swing right there at 40, and that's right where that swing ellipse is. So wouldn't that be a pretty decent rollover? Not yet. Not yet. Probably could have shorted that one for a quick one, but I don't like that one. There's our ellipse. There's our trade. See if we can get those 10 ticks. Now I've got this running about 50 times, so it's running pretty quick. Where's our next trade on this chart, by the way? If we get stopped out of this one, I think you can clearly see it because what's it done so far? Midband, it's done line 5. That's the shorts, remember, midband, line 5, and what's after line 5? Phantom. Absolutely the phantom trade. So, see if we can get that one. I think I'd put this little stop right there just in case, because I'm going to go in one more time if it comes up to phantom. And we didn't get our 10 ticks yet. That's okay. Pretty sideways choppy too. Now you got to swing right across there. See it? Lightning. Okay, we're out. Let's go for phantom. That's going to be our next trade. I'm going to have to slow this down to ever get this though. Let me kick it at about 10 times. We're looking at, well, actually we're looking at line 6 or phantom. So anywhere 6 to phantom, we'll take this trade on a bar rollover. There's our bar rollover. Okay, it's already taken out this support. It's taken out this support right here where lightning is. If it takes out this one right here, you could bring your stop even right in through here, but it's got to take this out first, if it's going to. Feeling a little heat on that one. Stops in though, we haven't gotten a scalp. You want to get us? Wow, we're down to 160. Scalping is doing so-so. All right, let's see. We got lightning right here, right? I'm going to go ahead and add one if it takes out lightning. Wow, that thing is moving. That was probably news more than likely. Now, by now, truthfully, with the way this is doing, and it's still doing the old dance up so far, so that's kind of scary, isn't it? We'll see. We don't want to take out this swing right here. So let's get a bar closed down, and we're going to protect this trade. And I'll put it on exit on close. There we got our extra contract. And there's us another trade. I'm going to draw a trend line. Could possibly hit that trend line, couldn't you? You can move that target if you want to. Well, it's too late now, but watch it bounce off that line. I just about bet you. Now, if you're a gutsy trader, you want to take a chance on this. See that trend line, that upward trend line? If it doesn't just blow through it, you can always turn on like bar close. I haven't got it yet though. You want to counter trend it if we get down there? I'll do it if we get down there. Because that's got a low, a high, a higher low, and higher highs now. That's our little bandito for the open. Just missed the one. I wanted it right there. Got it a little bit later, but that's okay. We're in the trade. Everybody see how you can do your trends though? You know, don't go against the trend unless you're really pretty confident of what it's going to do. If you draw trend lines on those charts, they're pretty amazing, but you got to be really careful with them too, because obviously if it crashed through it, we wouldn't have gotten the trade anyway. Because if this bar hadn't closed up and even waited on the second bar to close up, then we would have been never taken the trade, because it would have closed below our trend line. And we were already out of the other trade. Okay, so we'd have our stop right here, right? Now, which trade have we not had so far? We've had a line 5, a line 6, a mid band. Y'all said it a few minutes ago, right? Phantom. Let's see where Phantom would be as far as something that hadn't been checked yet too. They've checked 49, which is like right here at this 52-ish. '63 is too high. 69 is way too high. The only other a priori I see that they haven't checked is that one right there at 56. Let's see how that is to Phantom. That's pretty much Phantom right there. They haven't checked that. See where they broke down? Haven't checked that 15 swing strength right there. You want to try that one? Right there at Phantom. Now, naturally, when we get a lightning swing, we'll go ahead and put our stop. And by the way, if this is going to just literally blow to the upside, you would want to put your stop just above Phantom even right away, with probably exit on close once we get that feature really working correctly. Until then, don't use exit on close, but just lag it back 3 or 4 ticks. Okay? Because the exit on close, for some reason, in high frequency type markets, by the time somebody's internet connection is telling the broker the stop and everything, object trader's actually sending another order, and that's being looked at right now. Okay, that was a pretty good trade, wasn't it? You want to try it again? See if we can get another ellipse if we get this target right here. I'll try it with you. I want to show you how good these ellipses are this morning, especially with staying with your trend. Came close to getting stopped out on that one, but notice where we put our stop, just above the swing. It went to break even when it went to 10 ticks, got our 10 ticks. Now we're trying to get our 20. If it stops us out, it stops us out. Missed us. You want to take the profit off the table only when it hits an ellipse? We could do that. There's an ellipse right there. And if we get our target, what are we going to do next? We're going to go for another ellipse. There we go. Okay, that's pretty decent, right? Now we've got to get another ellipse. We're still in a downtrend, even though this background has changed green. The only reason the background changed green is we got enough of a thrust up to change the background, but it has not changed dynamic trend yet. We're going to short an ellipse when we see it. Unless this thing just keeps going down, and it very well could, but that's okay. If it does, it does. Where does anybody, without an ellipse, where do you see the next trade? I'm going to pause this for just a second because we've been teaching these webinars for so long. You really, really, really should see that next trade by simply looking at this chart. Draw your lightning. Isn't it right there? Isn't it right there? And mid-band. So what I normally do in a case like that is I draw a line right there and I draw a line at mid-band. Looking to the left to trade the right, that's where it broke down. That's where it should kiss back, but there's another swing right here at mid-band too. So if that gets anywhere between that 36 and 40, 38, 40 area right there, that's where I'd be looking for the trade. But let's see if an ellipse draws there in real time, because that's what we'll look at. Got a lightning swing. No ellipse drawn yet, is there? That's because the calculation hadn't said to do it yet. It's looking at the swings and it's trying to calculate where it should be. But we've already done it, haven't we? Right there. Got to get up there though. Now, if you're really gutsy, you could trade the little ellipse down at the bottom to the upside. See how it's kind of bouncing right there? Because we're trying to get up to 40, aren't we? 38 to 40 area. 30, 34, pardon me, not 34. Can't read my chart. 36 and 38. That's where we're trying to get. Because they had a thrust down, retrace, broke down, haven't checked it yet. See if we can get that trade. Wait till our little ellipse shows up, if it's going to show up. There it is. Wow, it's up there a little higher. I don't think we're going to go that high. That's 40. Well, that's 43. That's another swing in Aperroy. So I'm going to draw two lines on this. I'm going to either take it here, mid-band or higher. There was, by the way, a quick, if you want to take a quick long out of Bandito. But I'd bring both my targets to where you'd get them, because obviously that's where our ellipse is. That's a counter trend trade, even though the Band-Aid opened to the upside. Okay, there's your 32 Band-Aid right there. We're going to feel a little heat on this one? Maybe. So far, Band-Aid's holding though. Now I would tighten the devil out of my stop now right under there, because that is definitely a counter trend trade. Got to mid-band, didn't it? Didn't get to my 40, did it? Got to 35. Still did okay on that. That was when that whipped around at the open on Friday. I remember that. We actually got that little trade right there long, and then it stopped us out. Got a trend line again. You want to try it? I'll try that trend line. I'm going to put my stop pretty tight though, just under 47, just in case it decides to go through there. And it did, so we're out of that trade. See, that actually only came to mid-band and rolled over, 35. So that one didn't come to the ellipse, did it? Now, they're not always going to come to that ellipse is the one thing. But notice how when we drew on our charts, we actually could have taken that bar rollover to begin with. Now, what do you do that you've already missed a pretty decent trade? You're going to have to either chase it, right? Or you're going to have to wait for a little retrace. Okay, let's look and see where it's going to retrace to. Looking to the left, trade the right. They got to at least come, well, they already have. Came to 17. So if that closes below there, I'm going to go ahead and take it because it already retraced. See that? It's doing it again, so I'm going to do, nah, we're in 3. We're good. Needs to hold resistance. Now, since that didn't go ahead and go to that ellipse, which sometimes it's not going to, you know, when it actually rocketed through mid-band like it did, probably should have grabbed that trade. But since we're late on it, it's not a big deal because it kissed resistance. And that's exactly the way we teach it too. Everybody getting something out of this today? Whoop, I just did the wrong thing. I put my, wait a minute, no I didn't, I just moved the chart. There we go. Okay, we're still good. Thought I'd put the targets in a different panel, which can happen. You gotta be real careful with that. By the way, if you're like a gutsy trader and you do want to go ahead and take, you know, for instance, this looks pretty strong to the downside. If you want to go ahead and take that, you certainly can. You know, for instance, we're in 3. If you want to add one, like with a bar rollover after kissing resistance, that's what a lot of traders do. See if we can get us a decent little pop. Broke support. Now, what would you do if you just went ahead and missed this trade entirely? What's your next trade on this chart? Mid-band, right? That's what we'd be looking for. But we're in a trade, so we're good to go. Look at this ellipse right down here. This is telling us to protect some coin already. See it down here? You want to just protect it? And then we'll go back in if it bounces off our ellipse. Now, naturally, our stop would need to be all the way up right there on lightning. Everybody see that? Now, you could ride this a while if you wanted to, because obviously you could just use lightning and keep your targets. See, we already nailed our target, though. You can move this target out of the way, bring your stop down with lightning, like so, and just ride this trade down. As soon as it breaks lightning, you're out. Right there. I'm going to just go ahead and use it without exit on close, so we don't accidentally get a exit on close that doesn't work correctly. Looks like we might get taken out. Anytime they take out those lows just by a little bit like that right there, they're usually going to go up and check resistance, which is at least up here, no higher than here. Everybody sees that, right? So where's your next trade on this chart? Let's see if we get an ellipse and we'll take it. If we get taken out, we may still head down. We're fine so far. Aren't those ellipses great though? That tell you pretty much where that trade's going to be. You can always go like the third bar back if you want to. There's a little lightning right there. See how your lightning's right there? You can see it if you draw it with your lightning 1. Pretty good little trade. Didn't get our target yet. That is so close. Now, what I like to do when they do that, see how they just missed that? You can always bring your stop like right with resistance. It should hit its head at this one and no higher than this one. So you can lag it a couple of ticks, something like that. It should not take you out if it's not going to. If it does, what are we going to do? We're going to look for another ellipse. And we just got taken out. But where's our ellipse at on this thing? And where's our resistance? It's right here where I've got this line drawn. See, if your ellipse draws here, okay, here's where your resistance is right there. Midband is really important. Just hit resistance. It's inside our ellipse. We don't want it to go any higher than here for sure because that's our secondary swing. And there we go. We just got another trade. I think these ellipses and these swings can help your trading. That's the whole idea of trends. You're looking at a micro trend, you're looking at a medium trend, and you're looking at the overall long-range trend. Remember on Friday, to give an example, where YM, I think, just went all the way up, gave a beautiful long trade, but it still hit its head lower than the previous long-term trend. And what did it do after that? It went down. Where's our next trade on this chart? Well, it just tested this swing right here. So what do you think? This one? So I haven't tested this one yet. Now that's a little bandito. I'm going to protect this pretty good though, just in case, because if this doesn't go ahead and go up, then I may be taking a shot at a bad trade. We'll find out. But that's a Band-Aid. This little swing should technically hold right here on the micro scale. And if I'm wrong, that's okay. But it is a bandito. And I like to jump in them, actually. All right, where's our resistance at? Let's see, we hit this swing here, right? So we should hit right across mid-band. And that's also our ellipse. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of this counter trend trade if it even comes into our ellipse. I'm going to go ahead and put it right there even. That's only 10 and 13 ticks, but that's counter trend. And that's where my next short is. Now, if they break what we call the micro trend, and it's breaking our micro trend, it's going to at least come up and check medium trend. So let's get rid of some lines. We see this all the time. See what we can get here. We're still in our long. We're protected under there. Let's see, I've got a swing at 17. That's already been checked. It's a swing here that hadn't really been checked. See how the low's been barely taken out? That usually to me means they're going to come up here and test a little higher. Well, they've already tested that swing. Let's just see what they do. But they should at least go to your medium swing. That's what I'm going to at least look for. And by the way, you're still long out of Bandito too. You want to go ahead and just take another long on it? You're doing the old Potter dance up. They're holding on top of support right across there. Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. It should bounce there if it's going to bounce. Now keep in mind this is counter trim except for the fact that that's one of our Band-Aids. Okay, we're in, but I am going to tighten this one to right underneath that lightning right there. Because that should hold if it's going to go ahead and do the old dance up. You can tell it's dancing upward. And they broke micro, so they're going to try to check medium. And that's also a Band-Aid. Now you want to do one more, well, we've got about 9 minutes. You want to do what we call the little bit more conservative way, to where you just box it in. Because we're expecting to get at least to mid-band. Now probably being counter trend, you know, you're more than likely going to at least hit mid-band here. They barely took it out. They only took it out by like 6 ticks and barely closed a bar even. So they're going to probably try to go up higher. So your trade you're looking for is at least line 5, which would be here, right? And you wait for a rollover. This trade may work, may not. Still trying. Now, as soon as that bar closes, I'm going to go ahead and bring the stop underneath that swing. See, it's already tested once down here, and then you got a higher low just then. If they take us out, they take us out. We're actually doing pretty well. So we didn't take our ellipse. Why? Because we were in a long. So we missed that ellipse little rollover right there, didn't we? That was a 10-tick trade, by the way, again at that ellipse. Notice how we took a long out of Bandito, but that ellipse would have been a good 10 ticks. So now that we missed that, what do we got to do? Well, we're still in a downtrend, so we're looking for another ellipse to trade. Let's look and see where lightning is right underneath. Well, let's see. High, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. Yeah, lightning is actually right there, so technically you're still in that short that rolled over at the ellipse. See, if you got in right there on that bar, you did feel some heat, but trading those ellipses like that, you didn't get stopped out. Let's see if we can get another one. You like these ellipses pretty well? They're pretty cool, aren't they? They're magic. And by the way, if you trade lightning and you want to try to get these little scalp trades, you know, for instance, if it goes above that line right there, it should at least go to here. You know, that's a risky trade, but you know, it's not a bad one if you just see it in real time. You know, see how that lightning's trying to form there? See, like that? Just took out that little swing, just barely. Tighten my stop just in case I made a mistake. That's a little lightning box is what that is. And keep in mind that also bounced off of the Band-Aid too. Span vertically again? Sure, sorry about that. Sometimes Ninja just doesn't stay vertically like it should. Where could you put your stop on this particular trade if it happens to try to go against you? Well, we need to close above this swing because we're long, and I'd put my stop right there. See, that's a way to get these little box type trades, where you can see lightning actually taken out. Those are little micro type moves. There's a high energy time right there. Let's see, Gary, when we have the recording up on the site, I need to leave them would be, oh, okay. Pat, that won't be a problem. I'll have it on the site here in just probably about 30, 40 minutes after this room closes. Now, I think I'd be protecting my coin on that long, at least right up there now. See the lightning? All right, we don't have an ellipse just yet, do we? Because we were long, so guess what? We don't have an ellipse, so we've got what? We've got lightning, right? There's lightning right there. You got a high, low, higher high, higher low, and that's for sure lightning right there right now. That's also phantom. Let's go ahead and sell one. That came so close to phantom. See how it came to line 6 and rolled? That's another one we teach. Now what I would do with this trade though is I would go ahead, if it closes below that line, I'd add. See why? Because that's still a short trade. Tested your secondary swing. And I'd probably, just in case, put that stop there and actually use exit on close once we get that feature really tuned up. Everybody see how you can do this though? Using your ellipses, using your trend, only go against the trend with these band-aids and things like that. Or if you see lightning broken, if you want to try a little shot type trade for scalps, now don't try to go for runners against the trend. You won't usually get them. When you're going against the trend, just go for those 10 ticks like, Kitty and some of the other people that just strictly trade 10 ticks. Some of them don't even go for runners except at the very open of the market. Anybody have any question about trend types and how to trade them? Because you have a micro trend that's basically lightning 1 and 2. You have the medium trend, which is lightning 3, and you have the longer term trend, which is normally your MTF, your a priori MTF. And I'm also adding a feature to MTF too, where you'll be able to draw lightning with it also. And we're going to have it to where it will tell you which direction the trend is actually going. See how you can do those nice little phantom trades? You wait for the bar rollovers and you get the trade. And those ellipses are beautiful because what did it actually do? Well, we went long down below, but then we shorted up there when it rolled over. If we would have shorted the ellipse, we probably wouldn't have gotten stopped out, because the bar actually rolled over right there. So you might have got stopped out and gone in again because that one went through the ellipse. They do sometimes. But this is not a trend change yet, is it? Absolutely not. And that's why I don't personally like these little scalps, against the trend, because you got to be really quick to get them. Drawing boxes around mid bands, things like that works quite well, but only if they're really, really tight consolidation. To give an example, like that one right there was a tight consolidation. Could you have scalped that? See where it just consolidated in that little area right there? Yeah. Because you could actually be short on your phantom and go another chart and try to get 7, 8, 10 ticks. Where should it hit its head? Right there. It's just now testing it. If it takes this out, guess what? It's no longer going down. But so far, what is our indicator that we all have telling us that this chart is doing? That's a red indicator in that middle. That is not saying that trend is up yet. Okay? Be careful going against that unless you're scalping, because that dynamic trend indicator in the middle and those ellipses, When they change colors, you can count on the fact that the trend has changed. But until they change colors, don't trade against them that much unless you just jump in and kind of scalp them. Okay? Well, we're right at 12 o'clock. Does anybody want to have any questions? Anything like that? Because I'll be more than happy to talk a little bit more if need be. But when you're trading like this, believe me, you can make some pretty good, very good. See how that's right at our ellipse again right now? Look where support is right there at 86. Do you think that might bounce there? You think it might bounce there? Well, that's 86 right there, and that's a pretty good size swing on there. So my guess is that it would bounce. Would I be willing to take a trade against it? Normally we won't call it in the room like that, but see where that bounced right off of 86? There's a lot of our traders that would have already hit the long. And you could do that even. You can just go, I mean, it bounced right off support. Will it give us a quick little trade? Well, it's against the trend, so what I do is just try to scalp it to say right across here, and just for a scalp, just in case it hits its head, which it easily could. But you know what'll show up, don't you? There it is. There's your beautiful ellipse again. And I always like to look at my ellipse and I draw a line like so. And then I look and see, where is that thing showing me? It's showing resistance at 08 and even 05 right here, right? So wouldn't you think that that more than likely would be another area to short that thing? You want to do it one more time? And then we'll wrap. It's right at the ellipse. There's our bar close coming up. We're in. Where's support on this chart again? Well, they haven't taken out 86 yet, right? So if you want to just scalp this thing, just put your target down there right around 86. Fade it by a couple of ticks even if you want. And you'll be surprised how you can scalp these things into oblivion also if you use these ellipses and trade with the trend. Okay, I think we only had one bad trade, didn't we? With the ellipse? Yeah, they're pretty solid. I personally like them quite well because, you know, when you're going sideways like this, what do you think's actually happening right now? Well, they're going to try to bounce off of probably 82. They've already checked 86 two times, right? So don't you think more than likely they're going to check this one right here at 82 that they haven't checked yet? Now that's a riskier trade because if this blows through here, it won't ever fail to begin with, but that's right at support. That's right at my ellipse. Now this is a counter trend trade, but it's because of the fact that it's sideways. Strictly sideways. And then I'd try to get to mid-band. All right, I think we're done. Does anybody have any final questions before we wrap? Look for the new Viper Predictor MTF, which will be the multiple time frame, so that we can even get away from some of these noisier charts, but still see these magical swings. Because wouldn't it be great to have a nice Renko chart, but still see these exact circles on your chart? That's what I'm looking forward to next week, actually. And I hope they're done this weekend because I'll be testing them and make sure they work perfectly. All right, I'll definitely load this, David, in just about the next 5 minutes. It'll start converting, and as soon as it converts, we'll be ready to go. See another trade? Anybody? I mean, couldn't you go on and on and on with this? Now, are you trying to make a fortune? Look at this. This has been sideways for a good 2 hours. So you're trading resistance and buying it at support. See the ellipse right there? You're right at resistance right there. Will it work? I don't know. But it sure fired, so we're going to take it. Okay? And once you get a little scalp, you can always bring your stop before it even gets to 10 ticks. You can bring it to, like the previous swing. It won't go to break even if you got it triggering at 10 until it gets 10 ticks, which is all the way down here. But you can bring your stop to protect yourself with lightning pretty quick. Okay? I hope everybody enjoyed this. I think you'll find that this is a pretty good way to trade. And this indicator right here is designed with swings in mind, with Fibonacci's in mind. It even looks for these great runs, and all of a sudden you'll see an ellipse form way up here out of the blue, and you'll think, wow, why is that there? That's because that's pretty much the target, because it's figuring all that in real time. All right, everybody have a great weekend. We'll keep developing great tools and we'll all trade. Thanks for coming. All right, I'll get that up on the site here in the next 20, 30 minutes at the very most. Bye, everyone, and thanks. Let's see real quick, Adam, I didn't answer that. Would you ever add a contract while heading in the direction of an ellipse? Yes, but just exactly the way we teach it, though, to where you watch for those little consolidations. Don't go chasing a trade, because they still do the lightning all the time. I mean, just like that little move right there, even see the lightning on it? High, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high. Okay. And if you take these little trades when they just barely break like this, then scalp it. Do like a 5 tick or something like that if you add on. Well, we already hit our target, so we can't do it. Okay. All right. Thanks everyone for coming. We'll see you on Monday morning. Bye now.